Hi, in this video we're going to be taking a look at some of the features in the Assist for Agencies program. We're going to have a broad overview of the various features that are available to administrators. Now, Assist for Agencies is embedded in an Excel workbook, and it has worksheets across the bottom of the page here that hold various pieces of data. Now, some of the data is organized in tables, and then there are also charts that show various things as well. I'll go over each of these in a moment. I just wanted you to see kind of what's on the various sheets. Now let's go back to a typical chart of the ORS and SRS scores. Now you can see that the purple line here holds the ORS scores for this client, starting at 9.3 and going to 15.1 and 20.1, as well as the SRS scores you can see here above, labeled with the pink diamonds. Now the program not only holds your ORS and SRS data and displays it, but also makes predictions based on comparison to a normative sample. In this case, you can see that from this initial score of 9.3, the program has projected these three percentiles, the red, blue, and green dashed lines, to show you the 25th, 50th, and 75th percentiles. Now there's also a couple cutoffs here. There's an ORS cutoff and an SRS cutoff. Now, as you know, the ORS and SRS is based in 4 subscores, and so they're next to the chart here. You can see that there are also subscore charts. This one we're looking at is the ORS subscore chart. So you can see, for example, that all four components of the ORS are displayed here. For example, you can see that the rating for individually starts at below 1, climbs to around 4, and then about 5 at the third session. So this is a way that you can see the subscores for a given client. We'll take a brief look here at the SRS subscores. You can see for this client they're all well above 8.6. And you can notice some variation. For example, the relationship score dropped a bit from the first to second session and then rose at the third session. Now I'll show you a little bit of what the multi-charts look like. The multi-chart tab is the place where you can look at more than one chart at once. It's actually 8 charts altogether. Here's the first 4, and then I'll scroll down here so you can see the second set of 4 charts. This is a way that you can see more than one chart at a time. And if you scroll to the top of the multi-chart page, you can see that there's a composite developed from all the charts on that page. Now I'm going to take a look briefly at the ORS data sheet, and this is where your client's ORS data is kept. In the first column you can see that the names are listed. And you can also see that color coding is used on the names, where the font color represents changes in the ORS, and the highlight color represents issues in the Alliance. And you can also see as I hover over these various boxes that I'll get messages that pop up that tell relevant information about a particular client case. Now the 2 thin columns next to the names are used in the risk reminder system. The drug and alcohol risk, the danger to self, danger to other risk. And then there's also columns that show the therapist and the program assigned to a given client, as well as the first session date, and the benchmark score, which is the score predicted by the normative sample for a given client to reach based on where they started. And then you can see a column here for the normative comparison as well, and that's kind of like an effect size that compares against this normative sample, where scores above 0 are better than the normative sample scores. You can see there are sort buttons here. If you wanted, for example, to sort by therapist, you could see all the given clients for a particular therapist. You can also sort by program, and by first session date, benchmark score, etc. Now, those of you who've been using Assist before, you'll notice that it looks different now. And the big difference is the three buttons here across the top. The clients button is very similar to the start button before, and this will just bring up a list of your clients. And the score button is used to enter a score for a given client, and the chart button will show you the chart for a client. Now the score button and the chart button can also be used to score or show the charts for a selection of multiple clients. So if you can choose multiple clients from a list, sometimes you have to use the control button to choose more than one, and you hit say chart. It will allow you to look at, in this case, 4 charts in a row. This hammer and wrench picture is the setup button, and that's how you can enter the setup menus, and you can change data, you can change configurations of therapists and administrator preferences and things like that. The quit button is pretty obvious. It's the quit button. I recommend that you use the quit button as it makes it a one-click way of turning off the system. And this button with the arrows is a refresh button that will refresh the page and show you the latest data in case something has changed since the last time you logged in here. And then this little button with the eye on it changes some of the preferences. And so for example, it can change the refresh preference. You can change to display active or all clients, and you can also change the scroll lock preference as well. So let's say we want to change here to write all clients to the sheet instead of just active clients. And then you'll see the clients that are listed as dormant in the system, and they'll be highlighted in gray. Now this can be particularly helpful if you'd like to see all the clients that have been at your agency for the therapists that are active. And this can be useful if you want to do some statistical analysis, looking at trends, that kind of thing. And I'll show you a little bit about some of the additional fields that are added to the ORS sheet. Now you can see the dormant cases are highlighted in gray. And now I'm going to scroll way over to the right on this sheet, past where the scores would be. And in case you're going to do any analysis of your data, this is some useful information here. First and last session date, number of sessions, first and last ORS score, last SRS score, etc. Okay. Now I'm going to take a look at the SRS data tab. And here you can see your client's SRS data. And one of the features I want to show you here is how you might be able to see historically what a given client's SRS warning message was. And you do that by finding the score in question. Here I'm going to do it for this client, Tina Jones. I hover over her first session score, and there you can see the message that she was given after she completed the measures. Now we're going to look briefly here at the therapist data table. This shows some metrics on the active therapists in your agency: total number of clients, average number of sessions, treatment length, percentage of clients reaching a benchmark score, as well as 4 other metrics that have to do with the normative comparison. Now the normative comparison is also broken down into a chart for therapists, and I'll click on that now. And here you can see a chart of the therapists in this given agency. And you can see for each therapist there's listed the normative comparison for all of their clients, which is that large green diamond, as well as their active clients. This is the active tracking feature. This enables you to see how your therapists have been doing lately as well as overall. Like for example, in this particular therapist, you can see that Valerie's overall rating for all of her clients is at 0.29, but lately the performance has been almost twice that at 0.56. Something is going well here and improving. Whereas the opposite would be true for this particular therapist, where things have been getting worse lately. And so the same thing applies with the program data. The same statistics are listed, as well as in the program's chart. And you might notice here that the plus and minus buttons, these are useful to zoom in closer to the data if you want to get a better perspective on the spread of how your data is laid out in the chart. And then the program also will display metrics on your data at an agency level. And that's what the agency data worksheet is for. It shows you the same statistics, but this is an overall. So that's pretty much a look at the features and overall of the features in the Assist for Agency program. And stay tuned for more videos and get more detail. Thank you.